Hello, everyone, and welcome to an exciting edition of Pardon Our Picks. I'm your host, Sam. Of course, with me is my co-host, Tarik DeFries. How you doing today?
All right, I'm good. Nice to be back. How you doing, Sam?
Doing pretty good. I'm excited for another football season.
Yes, and this is a unique football season to be sure.
Absolutely. With the implemented rule changes and the COVID issues, people opting out everywhere, it's been absolutely bonkers. So anything can happen this year.
Yeah. So I was having a discussion. I want to know your thoughts on this. Do you think this year's winner of the Super Bowl should have an asterisk next to their championship?
I do not actually. They're not going to put an asterisk next to the World Series winner. They're not going to put an asterisk next to the Stanley Cup winner. They're not going to put an asterisk next to this NFL winner. Quite frankly, not enough people have opted out for that to even be considered, I believe.
All right, yeah. I mean, that's just kind of been. This is so unique. I mean, as you mentioned, Stanley Cup. I've been following that, though. That's not what we're covering. We're a fan of all sports. But yeah, just some of that. You had to wait how many months just to do the playoffs with the NHL and the NBA, and just like, okay, does that hurt the momentum? Does that not? We worry about that in football all the time with the bye weeks and the playoffs and everything. So it's just a curiosity with this, and I hate this phrase right now, unprecedented times.
Yes, absolutely. Now, thank you for bringing that back up. We are back into football season. We've had baseball season. It's coming. It's coming to a head. The 60-game season. The Stanley Cups are starting to wind down. The NBA playoffs, they're coming to a head. This is an exciting time in sports. And this broadcast, by the way, is brought to you by Morning Wood Crafters. The link for them is right behind me on the screen. Uh, so for any wood needs that you might have, special designs, anything like that, they are great with that. They are inspired by design, crafted by hand. So,
I thought you were going for the innuendo there. I'm like, where is he going with this?
I almost did, but you know,
We're gonna
I
keep it
figured I'd
classy.
keep it PG for anybody that's watching. So, let's get started on our picks this week. What we have today, we have playoff predictions, Super Bowl predictions, and we're going to start with your picks. We'll start with the number one seed. Who you got? Number one seed,
All
AFC,
right,
NFC.
and we're gonna go NFC first.
You can go AFC and NFC. We're going to go together with both of them. So one seed for both.
Okay, so number one seed. Okay, and I know some of our fans are like 10 of them at the moment. Um, everyone's Baltimore fan, as you can see by my shirt. I do not fully subscribe to the Baltimore fandom, as I know you, my esteemed co-host, do not as well. So everyone take our picks with a grain of salt here. But I have the number one pick, the number one seed for the AFC as the Baltimore Ravens.
All right. What about the NFC?
NFC, I have the Green Bay Packers. No, I do not. Haha, I messed that up. Do not listen to that. I have the number one seed as the San Francisco 49ers.
All right. So who do we have for your two seeds? Oh,
I, my second, I have the Kansas City Chiefs being bumped down from their Super Bowl victory. And now I have the Green Bay Packers as my number two.
not a couple of bad picks. Those are fairly interchangeable at the top, and most people would say. So
Yeah, I think so.
who do we have for your third seed?
Number third seed, I have for the AFC, the Tennessee Titans. And for the NFC, I have the New Orleans Saints.
The Tennessee Titans made it to the playoffs last year as a wild card. Went all the way to the AFC Championship game. Lost to the two seed on your list, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
We have them. You have them winning their division this year.
Yeah, they. I was looking at the other teams because used to be a big Colts fan, and just looking through, usually just I pick the Colts, but they're still figuring out their quarterback situation. You got Philip Rivers, who I despise, on my old favorite team, figuring out a new system. They're figuring out a bunch of other players. A couple people have opted out that wouldn't are some difference makers. So, and then the other two teams just I, they have a hard time anyway. So I just couldn't. And Derrick Henry, or I think his name's Derrick Henry, who's such a big playmaker in the
Oh, absolutely.
playoffs. I know some people are going to try and have some answers to him, but I think it's going to take a little bit because that you can't be that big, run that fast. So
He's hard to take down. All right, who do we have for your 4 seeds?
number 4 seeds, I have. So this one we're probably going to have to talk about in a minute, I'm sure. I have the Buffalo Bills with the East. And we could talk.
Dethroning the champs. Dethroning the usual champs.
Well, as we know, the East looks a little different this year.
Yes, it does.
So Tom Brady, for the first time in his career, is not playing for the New England Patriots. And even though I subscribe to the theory that Tom Brady is not the difference maker in that, I believe it's all Belichick. I think it's going to take a little bit to redo a new system, to try and implement the right. He's got all the puzzle pieces right in the exact order that he wants them in, and he's been very good at that. But doing that with a different quarterback than what he was expecting coming out at the end of last season, I think that they're not really going to do it. And then Tom Brady in the same on
Tampa Bay.
He's in Tampa Bay. They're going to have trouble. Again, new systems. He's used to doing things his way. They're used to losing. It's going to be what it is.
I gotcha. Who do you got coming out of the NFC East?
NFC East, I got you guys. I got the Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys. All right. Good to hear it. And Buffalo was a strong team last year, so I agree with that pick. So, all right. First wild card.
All right, wild card number 1. I've got for me, I've got the Denver Broncos. So I had to pick my team. They got a quarterback, finally the first decent quarterback they've had since Peyton Manning retired. I feel like they drafted really well, getting some wide receivers, getting some weapons for them. But I think it's going to take, as I keep saying, it takes time to get used to a system. It's his first full season. He only played a handful of games last year. So I think they're going to do well. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I think they're going to eke into the playoffs.
I'd call it a homer pick, but you didn't pick them to win the division, so I can't really. So, and you're right. The same thing happened to Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. His first year, he got thrown into a situation that was made for Joe Flacco, and he did okay, but the second year is when he really stepped up.
Exactly.
All right. NFC, 5th seed.
NFC, I got the Eagles.
The Eagles. Ugh.
Well,
right.
You're going through the Washington team or the Giants, and I really couldn't, just like with this, the AFC South, I really couldn't pick either one of those teams. So it was kind of a process of elimination there.
All right. 6 seeds. Now, mind you, we have 7 seeds on each side this year, folks, because the rule changes. We have 14 teams in the playoffs, not the 12 that we usually have. So only the first seed will have a bye. So who do you got for the 6 seed?
Yeah. So, and I'm going to go on a tangent there real quick before I give you my next seed. So I've had discussions with my friends and other sports fanatics here, and a big question here that we can talk about, and I'd like your opinion on it. Do you think the league should keep a bye week at all? Because we're here in Baltimore, we're here in Maryland, and twice in a row, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens kind of fumbled after, like, you had him fumbled in the playoffs, and this year he fumbled after a bye week. And we've seen a bunch of teams do that. The Colts did it for years. They'd get the bye week, lose in the division round.
I believe that the bye week is an incentive for most teams that make it. Not all of them. You do have the examples, the Ravens, the Colts, as you said, on occasion. The Broncos had a bye week when the Ravens went in 2 Mile High and beat them. Ray Lewis's last year, of course. But I think it's still a boon to most teams that make it. Most coaches know how to handle it, and I think that maybe they just these coaches may have outthought themselves.
Okay.
So, all right.
But okay, next thing, it was just a thought because I mean, you played sports, I played sports. Momentum, you feel is a thing. You're on a winning streak. You're in the right movement. You're exercising. You're doing your warm ups. You're doing everything. You got the win, and it's on a pattern. And then it's not that rest.
But what about those teams that rest their starters in the last week or two?
I've been against that for years. That bothers me to no end. Because it's like, okay, you're getting your guy cold. You got the bye week, so you're resting everybody. So they got 3 or 4 weeks of not playing. Like you've seen guys fall that had that. So it's I guess it's an argument. People have their opinions one way or the other.
I gotcha.
So, but all right. Next seed. So, all right.
Seeds.
So I've got, let's see, wild card 2. That's the one we're on. Yep. So I've got the Indianapolis Colts doing the same thing as the Broncos, eking their way into the playoffs. And I've got for the NFC the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay. All right. I can get behind the Seahawks. I don't know how Phillip Rivers is going to do in that division. And when I looked at the teams they're going to be playing this year, they got a hard road ahead of them. It's not just the South that they're playing. They're playing some really difficult teams in the NFC and the AFC. So I don't see personally, I don't see more than one team getting out of that division.
Okay.
But all right, and your 7th and final seeds.
It's such a weird year. So I've got the Steelers coming out of that, and I've got the Vikings.
Okay, Vikings, very strong team. They lost Stephon Diggs, but they picked up some pretty good playmakers. And the Steelers, with Ben Roethlisberger back at the helm.
We'll see how that goes. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, making the third. I guess that's the benefit of the doubt, making the third wild card seed. But we'll see. Some of these, it's such a weird year, and you're trying to go off of stats with players opting out, and such a weird thing. And
absolutely,
some players have already been sick, different things. So
all right. So we'll move on to my selections. We're going to start with our 1 seeds, and it's unanimous between the two of us: Baltimore Ravens and San Francisco 49ers. You can't get around it. You can't shake it. Both teams are quality. San Francisco in the Super Bowl last year as a 2 seed.
Yep.
I think they got some pretty good playmakers out there. They may go all the way this year. We'll have to find out when I make my picks, when we show our picks later.
All right. So, what do you got for 2nd seed?
2nd seed. We both agree on the Kansas City Chiefs. However, I have the New Orleans Saints as my 2 seed. Barely edging out. Now, mind you, when I did my simulations, I did a simulation for the entire year. I did one, just one. I didn't do many. Didn't do thousands.
Didn't do 1,000.
Not like those predictions do. But I did one simulation for the entire season, and I had San Francisco, New Orleans, and my 3rd seed all tied with the same record. But because of conference play, I had New Orleans as the 2 seed, San Francisco as the 1 seed, and Green Bay as my 3rd seed.
Okay.
Buffalo,
like your segue there.
Buffalo Bills. Strong team this year. They're going to have quite a few wins against their own division, and they might beat up on Cam a little bit in New England. And I believe that they are going to have the number 3 seed. Green Bay Packers, of course, always a strong team. Aaron Rodgers that
Oh,
they are
he's
not
so
picking.
mad. I looked at that. I'm like, this isn't even a question. He's going to do the exact same thing as Brett
Yes,
Favre did. How so many years ago? I remember us talking about it then. You're like Brett Favre is so mad, and
yes,
if you're like, no, he's not. What'd he do? He got traded to another team, so he get traded back into the same division and beat on the Green Bay Packers as a Viking.
yes. I think the Green Bay Packers. I think this might be his last year as a Green Bay Packer, and he will probably go somewhere else. Maybe not within the division, but he will probably go somewhere else after this year.
It'd be really
He
funny if
wants.
he headed to a jet and then came back. If he just repeated history full circle.
All right. So, as my 4 seeds, I do have my AFC South winner, the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
Because Houston won the division last year and they lost quite a few pieces, I don't think they're going to repeat.
Right.
And of course, the NFC East, I have the Dallas Cowboys as the division winners there. Not a lot of debate there for me. I think Philadelphia is a good team, a quality team, but because they won the division last year, they have to go up against San Francisco, New Orleans, and Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be what does them in more so than anything else.
Makes sense.
All right, so
All right,
next,
wild card.
wild cards. 5th seed, top wild cards. Pittsburgh Steelers making a comeback, a bounce back year. Ben Roethlisberger wants to go out on top. He's going to make the playoffs this year. He's probably not going to win the Super Bowl, but he'll make the playoffs. And of course, the Seattle Seahawks, the team that lost out to San Francisco last year for the number 1 seed. Again, as a 5 seed this year, I believe they're going to be a tough team to beat. All right.
Yep. Wild card number 2.
Wild card number 2. We're going to have, if anybody saw my picks last year, you saw what my number 6 AFC seed was, and they kind of imploded a bit through the year. But I thought they'd pick it up at the end of the year. They kind of didn't. I think it was a coach issue. I got the Cleveland Browns.
You're holding on to that train?
I'm thinking they got a quality team. They got a different coach, and they're hungry. They want it at this point, and a lot of the AFC teams have diminished quite a bit. So I'm thinking they may have a shot to slide into that 6th seed. And of course, the Minnesota Vikings are going to be my NFC 6th seed. Hard to keep them out of the playoffs this year. They're still a really strong team.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. All right, and your wild card number 3.
Wild card number 3. What a weird thing.
I know, and my brain is like, that's not what that is.
So I'm gonna put it to you this way: the team that Tom Brady played for and the team that Tom Brady plays for now are going to be my 7th seed. Cam Newton is going to sneak into the playoffs, just edging out teams like the Houston Texans and the Denver Broncos in the West. And Tampa Bay, they're gonna eke their way in. It's going to be a tight race between them and Arizona, I believe.
Okay.
There's not really a lot of competition elsewhere except for Philly. Philly's the only other one I think that might give them a run for their money. So, Here's what we have now. Tarik's Super Bowl predictions. Who will be in the Super Bowl according to Tarik?
I've got the Baltimore Ravens and the Green Bay Packers.
Baltimore Ravens and the Green Bay Packers. All right. Not a bad couple of selections. The Green Bay Packers, of course, we discussed Aaron Rodgers. And, of course, the Ravens, just losing out last year, ran into a tough Tennessee team. So, my selections. On the AFC side, I also have the Baltimore Ravens. I believe that they are hungry, they're ready, they're going to get it.
They've got all the pieces.
It's going to come down to them in Kansas City in the AFC if things plan out the way I think they will. And in the NFC, I have the 2 seed, the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I think Drew Brees is a year or two away from retiring, and if he
Yeah.
makes the Super Bowl and wins, he'll retire this year. I think they're a good team, and I think they got a chance to go all the way. So, time for our predictions for Super Bowl winner. Tarik?
Okay. I've got the Baltimore Ravens.
The Baltimore Ravens. So do I.
Boom.
I believe it's their year. They're going to win it all this year. They're a tough team to beat. I don't care who you are. They're a tough team to beat. They only got better from last year.
Exactly.
All right. So that was our playoff and Super Bowl predictions, folks. If you think we did wrong, go ahead and put it in the comments. If you want to pick against us, go ahead and put your picks in there every week. We'll be looking at them. Until next week, I'm Sam.
I'm Tarik.
And you guys have a great football week.
See ya.